Thank you, everybody, for coming and joining us on a Friday morning. Really appreciate you guys coming. This is one of our quarterly virtual user groups. And in this user group, we are going to be kind of exclusively dedicated to the ITBM space. Now, if you're not a ServiceNow ITBM user, I encourage you to stay on and continue to watch, because you can certainly see stuff on VividCharts that you might not have been aware of that can easily apply to non-ITBM processes. Really happy to have one of our customers here, Mr. David Reid from Ardagh. And David is going to run us through how they have used our VividCharts ITBM content pack to gain some serious benefits when it comes to project status reporting. So David, why don't you just introduce yourself and show us what you've got?
Thanks, Rob, and thanks everyone for joining. I'm looking forward to this. So I'll be talking about what we've done with VividCharts to improve our ServiceNow functionality. First, I'll give you a little background about myself and the company I work for, and then we'll go into the materials. So I work for Ardagh Group, a global packaging company. We supply packaging in sustainable materials, primarily metal and glass. We have plants all around the world, about 57 plants, 7 billion in revenue, and I think about 16,000 people working in 12 countries. So we're a large global company, and producing a lot of products, and we have a lot of need for project management in our IT group, and so that's kind of where I come in. I work in IT, and I am a business analyst, been with the company for about 9 years, and very involved in our ServiceNow application, especially focused on the PPM module. So that's kind of the background of where I'm coming from. But now I'm going to talk about our single page project dashboard. That's the focus of this project. I think we're going to use the tool VividCharts for a lot more than that, but I'll walk you through kind of the background, the benefits, and what we've done so far, focusing in on this single page project dashboard. As a background, we implemented ServiceNow in 2018, including the PPM module and a few others, and primarily to enhance our project management capabilities for Ardagh in North America for IT. So we established ServiceNow as our system of record. We had a number of different applications and lists and spreadsheets and so forth to manage projects, SharePoint sites. So we consolidated all that into one application, and now we do all of that in ServiceNow in PPM. As we went live, even before we went live, we were looking for a good way to take this data out of ServiceNow, or take the data that's in ServiceNow and find a good way to present it for project status management. So in our system, we've got a tremendous amount of very rich data about the projects, about the costs, the timing, the time cards going into projects, the history and status and so forth, but not a real good way to present that information. So I'll talk through a little bit more detail about what that means and what we did. So we wanted to simplify and automate the way we're reporting that information. We don't have a wide footprint of direct ServiceNow application users. That's focused primarily on our IT group. The business users interface more through a portal and aren't directly in the application. So to get them the information they need, we needed a way that's outside of the application. And so what we kind of evolved into when we went live was the need to get this information in the right format. And so as you're probably aware, ServiceNow is very rich in terms of the capabilities for getting data out of ServiceNow and into Excel. And then you can do a lot with the data, of course, once you got it in Excel. So we were relying, we believe, too heavily on that for regular reporting of information. And especially in the case of project statuses, in order to present that information to stakeholders and leadership that are typically not all ServiceNow users. So that's kind of the background. And so to kind of tackle this problem, we looked at a number of solutions. We went through over a period of time. These weren't all on the same day that we looked at these, but we first looked at, okay, well, let's start with out-of-the-box ServiceNow. What's in ServiceNow that we can use for status reporting? And as I mentioned earlier, we found that relies heavily on being in the application. And we got a lot of users that weren't in the application. So then we looked at, okay, well, what does ServiceNow present that, can output that information to non-users? And there certainly is an out-of-box PDF form for project status that comes with ServiceNow that actually reports most of the information that we were looking for. But we really didn't like the format. It wasn't efficient. It didn't meet what our users were used to in terms of a high-level glance, a view of how the project is doing without having to dig through too much information. So we wanted to try to customize that report to keep it in ServiceNow, get that report down to a single page, focused only on the data that we need. And certainly anybody who's using ServiceNow knows there's so much capability in the system, there's so many fields, so much data that, I doubt if we're using 10%, maybe even 5% of the fields in project management. And so the out-of-box reporting is typically containing a lot of the stuff that we're not using. And we wanted people to be able to quickly hone in on the information that matters to us. And so that out-of-the-box solution was just not the most efficient for us. So then we looked at, well, let's build a customized portal in ServiceNow that will give us what we're looking for. And that actually came very close to our solution, but we didn't launch it for a variety of reasons. And it's kind of hard to explain, but I guess at a high level, I would say it just wasn't robust and efficient enough for our needs. The interface, the input output of getting a report out, of how to share that report, and getting the report to look just the way we wanted it was just proving to be a little bit challenging with that solution. And so we ended up instead, really doing a lot of customization in Excel. And so I was literally, and for some purposes still am, dumping on a monthly basis 6 tables out of ServiceNow PPM into Excel, and then running a massive macro to try to process all that data. And the macro only did about 2/3 of the work, then I had to do the rest manually. As you can imagine, not only is that a time-consuming effort, it's also a very batch-oriented, once a month kind of thing because of the time it took instead of on demand, and very error-prone. That's probably the worst part of it, is that it's just too many opportunities for something to go wrong. So we ended up finally finding a good solution here, and we've implemented it, and that's using VividCharts. That is very similar to the ServiceNow portal solution that we were exploring, but it's got some key advantages. One is the flexibility of the layout to really get exactly what we were looking for in the layout, in the format that's very efficient and pops to the user. And then also that it's fully integrated into ServiceNow, which really helps on the input output. And I'll talk more in detail about that as we get more into the presentation. So I'll talk a little about the business case. I've really touched on most of this already with all the downloading of the 6 tables and all the effort that took. So I won't go into too much detail on it, other than to say that we're seeing that it's definitely a reduction in effort, but more importantly, the real benefits we're getting are the fact that this is real time pulling the data directly out of the system. So it's back to the one system of record that we started our project with. Anytime we have human beings manipulating data, there's a chance for intentional or unintentional bias, errors, and things that we just want to eliminate out of the system. And so by now putting this directly in the system, we can run it in the middle of the month instead of at the end or the beginning of the month. So, a project manager is updating their project, not necessarily on the last day of the month, in preparation maybe for a steering committee meeting that afternoon or the next day. So they need to get the latest information into the system, and I want them putting them into ServiceNow, not into a PowerPoint or anything else. And so they can get that information in the system. How can we get that back out quickly in the format they need, essentially in real time? Of course, it's not real time. It's maybe an hour or two, run a batch job, but it's still pulling it right out of the system rather than doing a long manual process. So getting that ability to run this ad hoc is extremely important. And then the other thing that's probably just as important, if not more, is the accuracy. So not only are we reducing errors, but this now forces the project managers, if they want an update in their report, it needs to go into ServiceNow. It doesn't go into Excel or PowerPoint or anything else. get it into the system of record, and it will come out in the format that you need it. And then the information in ServiceNow is truly the one system of record. So those are the benefits driving why we did this. So just a few screenshots of what the application looks like. One of the keys is that it's directly integrated into ServiceNow. I mean, the fact that, you know, the user has a menu option, a shortcut in ServiceNow that launches this portal. So it really doesn't feel like an interface. You know, it's obviously it's built on the ServiceNow platform. This is a product that you get through the ServiceNow store. So this isn't like buying a third-party reporting tool. This is actually, as far as, you know, the users and where our experience, this is really running the data fully integrated within the ServiceNow platform. So we just click on that link, and then in our case, this launches this portal, and it's essentially just a list of all of our projects with some filtering, very strong filtering capabilities on the top, and then you see some project sets. I'll talk about that more towards the end of the presentation. And the key here is you can sort this list, and I'll walk through a little bit of the detail about how, in some very convenient ways to get this to a project or the projects that you're interested in looking at. And then you can quickly jump to two different things. You can either look at the one-page report that we're talking about, or you can go directly into ServiceNow and look at that report in detail within the application. So you essentially click on either one of these two links. So we're going to click on this link, for this presentation, I clicked on the link that actually launches the one-page dashboard, and it launches this report. So this is our single-page dashboard view of a project. I'm not going to cover every single field here, but the basic idea is all the important information that IT leadership, that business leadership, that stakeholders, that project managers would like to see to get a one-page view of how this project is doing, where is it at, what are the key issues, what are the recent achievements, how are we doing on the budget, on the timeline. All of that information is here, a lot of it with color coding to jump out at the page to highlight anything they might want to look at and get a very quick understanding of the health of this project. So the VividCharts team did a nice job developing this for us to make it look exactly the way we wanted it. That's one of the benefits that we liked about this, is the flexibility in being able to get this look the way we want it. We're always trying to get our users to get more directly into using the system live and getting the data out of the system. So having a report that is similar to what we're used to seeing and provides the most relevant data at a glance is very helpful, especially the fact that they don't have to comb through data that doesn't matter. They're only looking, in this case, for example, I'll pick on the key milestones in the lower right-hand corner. This is fully integrated into the project portfolio management in that we have a project plan defined in the project where the project manager sets their milestones and their activities and all their tasks and their key milestones, and manage the whole project from that one project plan. And what's nice is then we're pulling for this particular report only the key milestones. So if it's a long, complex project, they might have 4,000 steps in it, they might have 200 milestones, they can define the 12 key milestones they want to report on this dashboard and see the status of the project at a high level. Of course, if they want more detail, then they simply click on that other link in the dashboard that takes them into the project, and then go look at the project plan and get into the details. But this is kind of our high-level view at a glance. So that was kind of the holy grail we were always looking for. And then the other thing that's really important to us is ease of use for the users to be able to do inputs and outputs. So the inputs are, of course, getting the data into ServiceNow, but then also pulling up the list in the dashboard I showed you earlier, and I'll show you a little more about how to filter those and get to those lists. But then on the output side, what's really nice is we have this simple button to output this single page report into either a PowerPoint or into a PDF file. So that's just one click to do a nice, efficient download. We're not doing screenshots. We're not doing anything like that. It's a very robust way of doing it. And you can also do multiple reports. I'll show you in a minute how to do that. So for example, if I've got a list of 6 projects that I look at on a frequent basis, I can define, I'll show you how a project set of those 6 projects, and I can run a report, click on this button, and it'll create a 6-page PowerPoint, 1 page for each project, just with that one click. And then, so lastly, I wanted to cover, I talked a little bit about some of the functionality around this input view, I call it, of the dashboard. You know, how does the user get to that report? So as I said, it pops up with a list of all the reports, and then there's several areas here to just do a simple filter to maybe the business unit or to the IT team and other sorting fields. But then also this column search is a real rich feature there, where all of these columns that you see here in the list of reports, any of the contents of there, you can put a partial text search up here. So for example, I could say, just look for my last name, Reid, and it'll pull up where any project that my name is either the manager or in the name of the project, and I can see those projects. So that helps us really sort the lists or filter the lists very quickly. And then we've also set this up so that when I have a list of projects here, I can scroll through it and I can click on which ones I want to create a project set for. And that's what happens over here. So as I click on these reports, they show up here on this list of selected projects. Once I've defined the number of projects I want in that set, just hit the save button and give it a name, and it shows up over here as a project set. And then I can refer to that project set in the future to run, let's say, that 6-page report of those 6 projects in PowerPoint. I just click on this project set, and then I'll click on the PowerPoint download, and I've got my 6-page report there in 2 clicks instead of the kind of long task that I was doing that I described before. So this has really helped. It's substantially reduced my effort in the monthly reporting so far. It's also been a benefit to our users that they're starting to pull ad hoc reports on an ad hoc basis. But I think the true benefit to this is the fact that the quality of the reporting that we're providing to our users now is much more accurate, easier to get to and to see, but also we have a high degree of confidence that we're not making mistakes and giving them information that isn't accurate and that isn't the latest information in our system of record. So we're really pleased with this is delivering exactly what we expected it to deliver. And what I'm really excited about is I think we've only scratched the surface. This certainly met our need, which was, kind of duplicate what we were doing before, but do it correctly and efficiently. But now the next step is there's so much graphical and reporting capability that we're excited about leveraging so that we don't just do what we used to do better, but that we do new and different things that we haven't thought about. So we're very much looking forward to taking the next step and moving forward with some of those capabilities. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Any questions?
Yeah, I see that Tracy asked a question. Is this the VividPack or a custom solution they built for you? It's really cool looking and has some awesome features, and I'll just take that one, David. Yes, this is the VividPack. The screen you're looking at right now is one of the assets that comes with that pack. We call it the Project Status Portal, and it has very easily configured filters and columns. So that can be changed to your kind of specific company needs very, very quickly. And the status report that David showcased earlier in the presentation is kind of like we provide a 1-pager status report, and then part of the deployment of the VividPack is massaging that to the content and aesthetics of your organization. But yes, it is a VividPack. Question from Dana, is building and printing the status reports in project sets part of the VividPack as well? So the VividPack comes with the project status portal and a 1-pager kind of template of a project status. And then once we refine that project status page to your look and feel, your content types, it's automatically integrated into the project status portal. So that's all part of the VividPack. And the project sets that David talked about is a feature of the project status portal.